right, still here the program this morning on ITV. I told you that we're going to be looking at COVID-19, schools resumption and need the COVID-19 protocol enforcement. Now, if you stay in Benin City and some major parts of Edo State, you would have seen one or two enforcement officer, going around to make sure that you enforce, you be part of the enforcement of putting on your face mask. Now, these guys are really not doing anything bad at all, because if you have had reason to see a COVID-19 patient, then of course you know that the state government is protecting you, is helping you definitely to make sure that you don't contact the COVID-19. Now, when the state government told us that schools were going to be resuming on the first day of February, a lot of parents were so worried, because they know that what that means is that their children are going to go back to school, and of course they are going to mingle with other children out there. But one good thing that the state government has also done is to make sure that even as these children go to school, they don't contact the COVID-19. And that's the reason why that so many enforcement teams and so many enforcers, so many sensitizers, if you want to say, have been put together to make sure that they go around major schools in Edo State to see that these schools are really keeping adherence with the safety protocols of COVID-19. Well, to look at this morning, this topic this morning, schools resumption and the COVID-19 protocol enforcement, we are so privileged to have Miss Uwabo, yes, Uwabo Irene, who is with the Edo State response team, and also she's a risk communication pillar. And we understand that she's a health education officer too, and also a sensitizer with the Edo State COVID-19 enforcement team. You're welcome to this program this morning.
Thank you very much.
And
good morning.
Yeah, we have Mr. Robert Asoma, who is the chairman of NABS. NABS stands for National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools of your Northeast chapter, and of course he's representing the state chairman, Comrade Ruben Ekosway, who I called yesterday. He told me that he cannot make it, but definitely he's going to send a representative down here. You're welcome, Mr. Roberts. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good morning, all.
Now, Mrs. Irene, let's look at the sensitization that you guys have been doing about the safety protocols. Talking about the safety protocols of COVID-19. How has it been like?
Sensitization. Okay. Good morning again, everybody. Sensitization has been on. There was no time we really stopped, even from the first wave of the COVID-19. So sensitization has been going on television. We've been having jingles on television, on radio, from place to place, like marketplaces, and now in schools. We started in schools. Our school resumed 2 days ago, and motor parks, a lot of places. We'll be going to places, from place to sensitize the people. Whatever is happening in the state occurs also in the LGAs, in the local government areas. So they are not left out at all. Sensitization is ongoing perfectly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Roberts, what factors would you want to share with us this morning to actually show that owners of private schools are really with the state government on efforts to make sure that we combat the COVID-19?
Thank you so much. From the very onset of the COVID-19, when schools were shut down last year in March, we had several meetings as to making preparations. Stakeholders meeting with government, with the response team on COVID-19 and all that, to put in place the protocols for school reopening. And to a very great extent, when school resumed last year, we already put all these things in place. All we did this year was to refresh our preparation for the children to resume 2 days back. We have all the things they've asked us to put in place, like washing bay, where hands are washed. First of all, as you're coming in through the gate, you must be checked. Your temperature must be checked with a non-contact infrared thermometer. If your temperature is beyond the normal body temperature, you'll be asked to go home. The schools are also encouraged to put in place a sick bay if you don't have one. If you don't have a proper sick bay, you can use a free classroom. Prepare it in such a way that a child that is sick can stay there till the response team will come. And recently, the Ministry of Education, in their wisdom, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, had a workshop last week, precisely on the 27th, where all private schools were invited for this training, which we were giving free of charge. And they also gave numbers, rapid response numbers for every local government, which we have also circulated to our members, all private schools. So if you have any emergency regarding COVID-19, or you even think it's COVID-19, maybe you cannot help the situation, you call those numbers, and I'm very sure they will respond.
Okay. Now, Ms. Irene, when we talk about enforcement now, somehow we're also talking about sensitization, because it is when you sensitize people that definitely, if they are not yielding, then of course you need to enforce what you are sensitizing them about. But let's look at the instruction that the state government gave that with effect from 1st of February 2021, that junior secondary schools, JSS1, JSS2 will resume in the morning between 8 and sometime in 12 o'clock. Then, of course, from 12 till about 2, 3, the senior secondary schools will resume. I don't know whether your team is working in this direction.
Yes, our team is working tirelessly. We started 2 days ago. Yes, school resumed on the 1st, Monday, Tuesday. We'll be going around schools. The risk communication team of the response, the security, alongside other, there's a joint, should I say, a joint monitoring team, even from the Ministry of Education. So we go around schools just to see and to ensure that schools are complying to these COVID-19 directives, and from the state government as well. 1 or 2 schools we visited, we saw that, okay, most of the, Monday was the beginning. Most of them were still, clearing their, keeping their environment clean, because that is also very, very important. Apart from COVID, your environment, you have to keep good hygiene. Your environment has to be clean. Your grasses cut, there should be water for cleaning and everything. Your environment should be very clean. So most of them were busy cleaning their environment, the first day and all. And I would say surprisingly, most of them are adhering to this COVID directive, in the sense that one of them is, I think he mentioned it just now, when you're going through when you get to the school, at the gate there should be a big signage, inscription to say no face mask, no entry. That's one of the criteria. You should be at the school gate, and most schools had it. As we go in, you just see boldly written, so it's not what you should, you can't miss it. Most schools that have it very small, we advise them to make it very big.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what about the instruction that senior secondary schools should come in the afternoon? Are you making sure that schools are keeping adherence to this?
Yes, definitely. They are adhering to it, because the junior secondary is to resume 8. I think they close by 12. Then the senior secondary was to resume at 12:30. So there's adherence, because I think this was done just to ensure physical and social distancing. You understand? So when you go to schools in the morning, you see the junior secondary schools are in session. And most of the time you see them occupying, other classes that are not even their classes, just to ensure physical distancing. At least you have that 1.5 to 2 meters between persons, So the senior secondary session as well, they resume schools by 12:30.
Do you have any
Yes.
major school that you saw that actually resumed school, senior secondary school, by 12:30?
Yes, as on Monday, we're at Oredo Girls Grammar School, and they followed it. Everything. We got there, the first session was still on. I think we got there at about 11, or thereabout, So we saw the principal. The principal was like, okay, she's expecting the second set, which is the senior secondary students. Yes. And before we left, they started trooping in. And we ensured that at the gate they had the hand wash facility. 1, 2, 3, it all depends. So that if it's just one, it might cause a little bit of traffic. So we advise that you should have like 2 or 3 buckets at the entrance for starters. And that should not be the only station for hand washing. So we wash the children, wash their hands coming with their face mask properly worn. Most of them didn't know how to wear it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a particular way you wear these medical face masks, and apart from the cloth ones sewn by the tailors and all that. So we taught them how to wear it. We taught them how to wash their hands properly for at least 20 seconds, not just to hurriedly wash and walk away. So all of this sensitization was done in all the schools we went through yesterday.
Now, I don't think, I don't know whether you guys are going to start thinking about alternative ways of, trying to sensitize the parents and also the school children against the COVID-19. Now, one major concern that seems to have emanated since about 2 days ago now is the fact that asking children to come to school in the afternoon, that may impede their learning, it may affect their learning, and of course parents are beginning to express their concerns, their reservations about this. I don't know whether your team is trying to look at alternative ways, that, I mean, the weather, it's a very hot weather this period, and asking children to come to school in the afternoon. Do you have any reactions on that? I'm just thinking aloud here and also trying to speak the minds of parents.
This is a pandemic. Nobody planned for it. It's not just an outbreak. It's worldwide. So we have to make a lot of adjustments. I'm advocating that we should all try to adjust to this for our own good, because we can't pack children and students, pupils in one particular, maybe classrooms like that. Enclosed places are not so. It's not
What is the seating
favorable.
capacity in classes now?
It all depends on how big the class is.
Okay.
We advocate for 30% capacity in each class.
Okay.
Be it class, be it any enclosed.
And the schools
yes.
are keeping adherence?
Yes, they are. Those that weren't so perfect, we had to sensitize them and to tell them why they had to do it. It was not that nobody's punishing anybody. They have to be aware to know the reason why they have to do it and all of that.
All right, now, Mr. Arasova, I do know that your own organization is not just a body that have registered proprietors and proprietors and all that. One major thing that you guys also do is to try to control the activities of your members. Now, information peddling around, which stands to be substantiated anyway, is that private schools now give students branded face masks at the expense of parents and at the expense of these school children. I mean, nothing wrong with giving the face mask, but for the fact that these face masks are branded, there are insinuations that extortions may be going through with all this.
Well, Mr. Evans, like you said, you are here to substantiate that. You cannot verify it now. I have not heard. But what we told our members, if they don't have face masks, your children can come with their face mask.
Okay.
Imagine some parents are medical doctors, nurses, health workers, and all, and they have enough face masks. So if they give their children one to bring, are you going to say you will not use it?
No, these
because
schools
I have a branded one.
These schools are reported to be telling the student that, look, these face masks that your parents give to you are not up to standard. We have the standard one in our schools. You come, pay 1,000, 1,500 naira, and you get it. Are you guys aware of this? Are you controlling this?
We have not heard, no report has come to us. But what we told our members in various fora is, if your children come with face masks, you let them into the school, because it's boldly written on the gate, no face mask, no entry, and we stick to that. If you don't wear a face mask, you go back home. If you're wearing one, even if it's the one sewn by a roadside tailor, it's a face mask, because even the enforcement team don't arrest people wearing that outside. It's a face mask. It prevents the inflow of those viruses. So if you're wearing one, you're allowed in. But if some schools are selling branded ones, I don't know about that.
Okay, now how are you guys coping with the directive that we talked about a while ago, that senior school, secondary school children should resume 12:30? That may be a burden on your teachers, having to stay the extra time in school. How are you guys coping with that?
Yes, it's actually a burden to some of us, but it's a new normal. We're living in uncharted waters. Nothing is normal anymore. So this is actually a new normal, and everybody has to adjust in the interest of safety. I wouldn't want any of my children to contract COVID-19, neither any of my staff. Similarly, my colleagues, they wouldn't want that. So, in your own interest, you have to comply with these instructions. Teachers have been told, we're giving them orientation time without number. You have to comply with this instruction for the safety of everyone. Imagine my child is also in that school, my precious child. Would I want that child to contract COVID-19? No. So, if you want to be safe, follow this instruction. Even if you have to come in the afternoon. Coming in the afternoon is because you have so many children in that class. And if you allow all of them to go in, the class will be congested.
What about the
But if you have other classrooms, you can break them into, then there will be no need coming in the afternoon. But if you don't have, in order to create physical distancing, then you break the class into streams. And some will come in the morning, some will come in the afternoon.
Yeah, when you say that, don't you think you may want to give a conflicting directive? Because you have members that listen to your directives too. But above it all, we have the state government that directs.
Yes.
So when you say that if you don't have much students, you can come in the morning,
Yes.
that is a contrary directive, don't you think so?
It's not contrary, because many private schools don't have large numbers. Our numbers are small. But if you have a large number and you think when they all come together they will be crowded, then it is compulsory that you break into streams. Because if you want them all to come together, they will be crowded, and that's against the protocol.
Okay. Anyway, Ms. Irene, let's look at what may not be happening in the schools now, outside the schools. At times, it also involves the school children. Because outside school, at the close of school, they go home, they go through, streets, major streets, go home and all that. Now, you find some enforcement officers, which somehow are parts of the teams that the state government has put together. Now, what is really expected of these enforcement officers? Is it that you have your face mask, you are holding it, or you are not wearing it, or you just hang it on your jaw? How do you get arrested?
For the enforcers, okay, actually we started with school students. Okay, before now, I think last week teachers were trained in the Ministry of Health trained teachers and head of schools, both public and private, so they are aware of all the protocols they're supposed to keep, and they're supposed to pass this message down to other staff and students when they get to school. So children are aware now that they're supposed to put on their face masks. Nonetheless, we keep sensitizing. Okay, then out there, maybe after school, you see some children putting it on their chin or putting in their bag or pockets. That is not supposed to be. They're supposed to keep it on till they get home. I would not advise that you wear it at home because you're with your family. But when you're outside, as far as you're going out, you put on your face mask, covering your nose and your mouth. It's not a chin mask. It's a face mask to cover your mouth and your nose. Why? Because these droplets that the virus is carried in go through your nose and your mouth easily, especially when you don't keep a good distance of 2 meters with an infected person. You understand? And you don't know who is infected. You know, it's not written on our foreheads. You don't know who is infected. So you make sure you keep your distance from everybody. Everybody is a suspect. So for these enforcers, what do they enforce? They ensure, like I just mentioned, you put on your face mask correctly, covering your nose and your mouth. You know, nobody's winch hunting anybody. It's just do the right thing for your own sake, for everybody's sake. Take responsibility. Wear your face mask correctly, covering your nose and your mouth. If you're not doing so, when they see you, they'll ask you to do that. You know, so most of the time you see people, maybe they don't have it at all, you know, or they have it in their bag. If you have it in your bag, they'll tell you to put it on. Do you understand? So it's not a matter of, okay, we want to arrest. No, it's not about, it's about you knowing why you should wear a face mask, what you're preventing, you know, the controls and the measures behind this COVID-19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you discover that for school children, it's probably a difficult thing to actually get them to do things. I'm just talking from experience as a parent. Now, your child comes from school, you have to tell the child to wash his stockings for the next day. I'm just wondering whether you guys also, you said you went to schools 2 days ago and even yesterday. You know, a little wonder whether you also tell the student that, look, for you people that come to school with the face masks that you can use every other day, do you tell them how to keep them clean?
Definitely, definitely. We do that daily. Yesterday, day before yesterday, we told them, because most of them had these tailored face masks, these cotton face masks. So we told them, you wear this daily. It's not what you wear today, you repeat tomorrow, you repeat, I'll wear for a week. You know, you have to wash it. So they were advised to have like at least 2 face masks.
Okay.
So because when you have 2 face masks,
that's per child?
Yes, per child. We advise them that at least 2, so that when you get home, you'll be able to wash one and air it to dry. If there's light, you iron. You understand? If not, just air and it's to dry, so that you use subsequent days. You understand? You can alternate, not just having one. By the time you have just one, you tend to repeat it, and it's not advisable because you don't know who you've gotten in contact with or what you've gotten in contact with. You know, we take it that this part is infected already. Yes, like I said, everybody's a suspect. When you have that mindset, you'll be very careful. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Arasuma, let's look at the level of compliance with your members now. Now, let's get to the teachers. These teachers, I remember when we had the chairman some time ago, he told me that before school resumes, that they're going to make sure that they ask their teachers to go through some form of test to actually ascertain their status. But this time, school resumed. I don't know if you guys, if any teacher came with a test certification to show that the COVID-19 status is negative.
Well, you see, that's a long shot because it has to be instituted by the government before you can request that. You're not going to ask your teachers to go for COVID-19 test when it's not been instituted by the government. Maybe you'll be fighting against their fundamental human rights.
Are there ways you guys know?
What we do is this. We've been given all we need to do. When your children come, your teachers, you check them at the gate. Your staff, they'll be checked at the gate with your non-contact infrared thermometer. If their body temperature is okay, you let them in. If it's not okay, they go back home. And if it's okay, as they come in, they go straight to the hand washing bay to wash their hands. Both teachers and students and pupils. Wash your hands, go straight to your classroom. No assembly. We've told all our members, no school must conduct assembly for whatever reason whatsoever. No assembly. Go straight to your classroom. While they sit in their classroom, the teacher will conduct it there in the classroom. If they want to say their prayers, they say it there. They want to say national anthem, they say it there in the classroom. And they sit down and learn. When it's time for break, no general break. Because that will give room for crowdedness, everybody running, jostling together. So it's a class by class thing. You want to go buy something, go. You want to eat yourself, go. Whatever you want to do, go and return. So there's no general thing, you ring the bell and everybody rush out and no such thing. So these are ways that we are keeping, trying to comply and keeping ourselves safe.
Okay. As we make preparations now, because of time, we'll have a segment that's going to be coming any moment from now. Now, Ms. Irene, we understand that the vaccination is so close. Talking about vaccination in Nigeria, major nations of the world are already vaccinating their citizens. And any moment from 2 weeks' time or even next week, Nigeria is going to be having its own vaccination. Now, little wonder, are we prepared in Edo State to receive these vaccines? Onward for vaccination.
For vaccination.
From your own experience, I mean, you are with the state government, from what you've seen so far.
Yes. Before now, we've been having a lot of stakeholders meetings. When we're talking about sensitization, not just on the streets, stakeholders meetings, sensitization, market women, National Union of Road Transport Workers, hoteliers, even keke, the tricycle, and bike riders. We've had a lot of sensitization, religious bodies, and all of that. why we had this sensitization, one of the reasons, apart from this second wave COVID-19, we mentioned this introduction of the COVID-19 vaccines. So most stakeholders are aware, they're ready, despite you have rumors here and there, they're ready to receive these vaccines. And for the state government, our cold chain is in order.
Your cold chain is in order?
Yeah. Cold chain is in order. The cold store, the medical stores is in order, ready to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. So that's what I'll say. We're very ready for that. Just for our people to get ready.
Okay. All right, Mr. Asoma, one more word from you.
Yeah. Oh, okay, just a word.
Yeah.
All right. I know my people are listening. We advise that you keep to all protocol as given by the state government and their response team. Abide by all. No face mask, no entry to the school. Visitors are not allowed. Parents are not allowed into the school.
That's right.
They stay at the gates. They receive their children there and they go back.
But the children also, they still mingle with the parents.
That's true, but as they are coming in, we check them and they wash their hands.
Okay.
These are minimum standards to keep you safe. Check them, they wash their hands, they come in, they go out. Parents not allowed, visitors not allowed. Okay, and then no assembly is allowed whatsoever. No general break. Children must keep social distancing. Your class must be properly ventilated.
All right, because of time, that's you wanted to say something.
It's never too much sensitization. Let's all have in mind that COVID-19 is real.
Okay.
It's so real.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We've been speaking with Irene Oabo, who is the Edo State COVID-19 response team, risk communication pillar, one of the pillars in Edo State, and also Mr. Robert Sowa, who is the vice chairman of NAPS in Ovia Northeast, the chairman of NAPS in Ovia Northeast, local government of Edo State. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the program today. Well, we'll take a short pause now so that all that segments will come your way. Just stay tuned.